music lesson. Today's focus is on scales. A scale is 8 notes that follow each other one step at a time. For example, a scale might sound like this. There are a lot of different scales when you're looking at keys on a piano, but every single scale has 8 notes, and each of those scales is usually about 1 step apart. Now, the best way to learn how to sing scales is through something called solfege. Solfege is basically its own language, and they use different words to represent each of the 8 notes in a scale. The words are do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So if you're going to sing a scale, it might sound something like this. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. The best part about learning solfege is that you can use it for any starting note on the keyboard. Let's say you have a lower voice and you want to start on this note. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If you're having trouble remembering what each of the words are, try listening to the song Do a Deer from The Sound of Music. It gives small different examples for how you can remember each of those weird sounding words. Now, let's try it. I'm going to give you a starting note and you try to sing it at home and see if you can do the 8 notes of the scale. Let's start with an E. Awesome! Let's try singing along while I play. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Awesome work! Now, one of the best ways to learn these scales is to start with whatever starting note and try sounding out in your head what would be 1 step higher than that. It does take a lot of practice, and it would be super helpful if you look up online a picture of a keyboard, because then you can see what key comes after the one you just sang. It definitely does take some practice though, so no problem if you don't get it right away. Let's try another example. Let's start with a G. Great job! Now sing along with me and let's see if you got it. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Awesome! Now for some of you, that might have been a little too high for you to sing, which is totally normal and totally okay. Every person has something we call a range, and that describes the lowest note we can sing and the highest note we can sing. Some people have really high ranges and can sing those super high notes. Some people have really low ranges and can sing super deep notes. All types of ranges are great and help make a beautiful sound when put together. But if we're doing examples and they feel a little too high or too low for you, you can try something called changing the octave. When you change the octave, you basically are taking the same note, but either 8 steps lower or 8 steps higher. Because there are 8 notes in a scale, when 2 notes are 8 steps apart, they're technically the same note, just one is higher than the other. Let's see. If I play a C, on the middle of the keyboard, it'll sound like this. But if I pick a C that's 8 steps higher, it'll sound like this. When you play them at the same time, they do sound like the same note, just one is higher than the other. This, once again, might take some practice for you to start hearing, but it's definitely a good skill to know if a song feels too high or too low for you, because you can always just take it down or take it up a little bit. Let's do one more practice, starting with an A. Let's see if you can try singing the 8 steps at home. Awesome work! Let's try it. Sing along with me. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Awesome work! Now, here are some tips if you want to practice your scales at home. Tip number 1 is to repeat your do, re, mi's over and over again. The more you repeat them, or even write them down, the more helpful it will be when you are trying to remember the order of the 8 words. Pause your video here so that you or a family member can write these 8 words down when you're trying to remember them. Tip number 2 is to keep practicing. Have a family member, a caregiver, or a friend give you a starting note and try to see if you can sing the 8 steps that come after that first note. You can even listen to your favorite song and try to find notes within the song to serve as your starting place, and then take one step at a time when you're trying to hear how the scale sounds. Remember, a scale is a set of 8 notes that are each a step apart. When you're learning your do, re, mi's, each of the words stands for one of the 8 notes in the scale. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for learning a music lesson with me, Natalie. I hope you guys are all staying healthy and safe. See you next time.